My name is Gail Zhou. I'm a data and AI solution architect at Microsoft. In this video, I will demonstrate the SQL Server to Azure Synapse migration process using the migration toolkit published in GitHub. I'll be migrating tables and data from SQL Server AdventureWorks DW 2017 to Azure Synapse SQL Pool with the BCP export option. I'll be using modules 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. My colleague Andrei Mirsky will demonstrate the code conversion for views, stored procedures, and functions using modules 1A and 1B. Let's get started. Before we get into the demo, let me provide the overview of the demonstration. We're going to use module 1, translate table DDLs, to translate SQL Server table DDLs into Azure Synapse format. And then we're going to use module 5, run SQL files in folder. This will execute the script in this folder. As a result, all of the tables will be created in Azure Synapse. Next, we're going to use module 2, export source data with BCP. This will export SQL Server data into .csv files in local storage. Next, we're going to use module 3, load data into Azure storage. This will upload all of the data into Azure storage. Now, I need to generate copy into script using module 4, which will generate a script. The script is copy into script. It's for importing data into Azure Synapse from Azure storage. Now, we are going to run module 5 again, run SQL files in folder. And as a result, the data from Azure storage be copied into Azure Synapse Analytics tables. So that will complete your table and data migrations. We also need to work with views, store procs, and functions. That comes with the function of module 1A and 1B. Module 1A will extract code DDLs, which is views, functions, and store procs. And then we're going to use module 1B, map, database, and schemas. That will produce code in Azure Synapse format. This will also identify all of the unsupported data types in your code. That will need to be manually handled. So if you have handled all of the code, including the code translated correctly, and put that in the folder, and then you run module 5, run SQL files in folder, that will create all of the objects in Azure Synapse. That is a complete process we're going to demonstrate today. Let's start the demo. Okay, I have AdventureWorks DW 2017 in my local SQL Server. Need to move to Azure Synapse database. So I'll be using module 1. First, I need to generate some configuration files. We have utilities built for you. Create source to target config file. So here is my SQL DW database name. you can put your own schema. These are placeholders. This is either CCI or heap. I put the CCI for default. Round robin as a default. This will generate a skeleton configuration file which you can use to customize. You can generate for all of the tables or selected tables like what I did here. This is output. You see, all of these are just the placeholders. We can change later. You copy this output, copy with headers, put in Excel file, which I already did here. So I just show you how this can be done. So just copy the entire thing here. You can modify it. I'll undo that. This is the file already configured. For the CCI, you can put the table as a replicate, round robin, or hash. For the dimension tables, I make all of the tables replicate. For demonstration purpose, I just choose 2 tables at round robin. For the fact tables, I want table to be hash distributed. If it's hash, I need hash keys. If it's multiple keys, you need to separate them with the bar in the middle. Here, example of heap table. For this table, this is just to demonstrate the variations of tables you can configure. So now I'm going to go to the module 1. I have a config file already constructed. You can save as a CSV. Both file format works. You can use Excel to configure, use CSV as input. Next, I need another config file. It's very simple. Server name should be qualified name. Integrity security, yes or no. 3 parts name, yes or no. Recommend you always use yes. This is output folder. This is where you are going to put the generated code for Synapse. So this is the output of module 1. This is where I want to put the output. With the 2 configuration files done, you're ready to run the module 1 PowerShell script. There's only one script to run. Translate tables. You just hit the run button. For us, you say, is this a directory? You have the 2 config files. You say yes. And this is the file name for the configuration we just saw. Hit yes, just enter. So all of the tables are being translated. Let's see the output. This is where I specified output. So these are the tables. Let's see, this is the DM account. Remember that yes flag. If you see yes, I will create this drop table statement before I create this table. The distribution is replicate. Let's check a fact table. So this is the fact table name. The distribution is hash with the hash key. Remember the last table we want it to be round robin heap table. So all looks good. So you're done with step 1. You got all the code generated. Next, I'm going to use module 5 to execute the code I generated. To do this, you only need one config file. This is your server name. This is your Azure Synapse workspace name, .sql, .azuresynapse.net, database name, security null, and also, hey, this is where the code is. That's where we just put the output from module 1. Let's clear this space here. I open module 5 to execute the code. Running this is very simple. You just need to give the config file name. And this will ask for the credential for Azure Synapse workspace. So it's working. The purple color is informational. The green color means everything is going well. Now you can go to your Azure Synapse to see everything is created there. Let's open this Dim account script. You see everything as expected. Distribution is replicate the CCI table. So now you have successfully migrated tables from SQL Server to Azure Synapse. Next thing I want to do is export SQL Server data with the BCP utility. In order to do that, I need module 2. And always, we have utilities for you. This will generate the configuration file you need to run a PowerShell script. Again, you can get output into that Excel file, save to a CSV. We also need a few more things in this config file. Again, SQL Server name, SQL integrate security, output. This is where your data will be stored. This is the output for module 2. The output file extension is .csv. Since I'm using BCP utility, you need to tell PowerShell script where the BCP is installed. Now I'm ready to run the module 2. It's very simple. Just give the file name. So it's exporting the data into your local storage. where you specify it should go. So everything's done. Let's see the output. So these are where I put output. It's a database name. Each table is in its own subfolder. This is very important. We need each table to be in its own folder so that we move to Azure storage. The copy command can easily copy this into a specific table. Now we can load this data into Azure storage. This is a sample config file. I need to use easy copy to do the job. So these are the parameters you need to set. There are two ways. You can ask us to generate SAS token, or you can provide your SAS token. Next one, data is the container name. That is very important. You want to tell which container you want to drop the data. And here is the folders to upload. This is your local folder where we just output the SQL Server data into. So that's the only config file you need. Let's run it. First, let's clear this old output. This file has all my specified information in my own Azure components. The other one, I just show you a sample. This will ask for security, all of the checks, authenticate before you can drop data, log into your account to drop data. I'll omit that the step. So now, when that's done, you see your Azure Data Lake Store. This is where I want data to go. And this is the folder, not folder, the container. The folder is demo. You see, this is Adventure Works, and the same structure as we output to local. So this is the location, very important. Data, demo, database name, schema name, underscore table name. We're going to use this intelligence for our next module to generate code to receive data from here, go to Azure Synapse. So now let's go to module 4. This is a recommended way to generate code using managing identity. So all of the parameters, remember the field terminator and the row terminator has to be the same as one you use for export. The errors is just a folder to if their error happens. First row is one is I don't have a header. SQL path. This is where I want you to generate the copy command. With that, I'm going to generate the code. So our data is in Azure storage. I need to move the data to Azure Synapse. I need to use tsql copy command. This one is going to generate all of the command for you. So already done. It's very quick. I need to show you, I use these two input here, and this all be generated by the utilities here. Again, no manual manipulation, very minimal manual work. So there are something very important I want to point out. The identity insert, if you generate this one, it will be on as default, or off. So either way, you're going to check your table, see if they have identity field. If they have identity field, we need to put this as on. If they don't have it, you don't put anything there. Also, there is a truncate table, and this is your Azure Synapse database name, which you saw that name matches what we set up. Let's see the output. So this is for each table we have output SQL file. Truncate table before I insert. 3 parse name. Look, this is very important. Your Azure Data Lake Store account name, and then see the data, demo, and database name. So this intelligence is predefined. So if your generate code doesn't match the structure, there's some setting maybe you need to adjust. If you follow our way of defining, you should be all okay. So it's yeah, everything is the same except the table name part. So each table has its own folder. The copy into is just copy from that folder into the table we specified with a 3 parse name. So our code is generated. Now we need to execute the code. We use the module 5. Module 5 is really a utility to execute any code. Just give me the directory of the code. So we have the DDL. We already used that. This one we're using the copy, just similar configuration. Let's run the module 5. This time I'm running the copy command. After I run this, the data will be moved from Azure Storage to Azure Synapse. So this is a config file. I'm telling PowerShell, say, hey, this is where I have my copy command. Again, it's going to ask my credential to Azure Synapse. The green one is a good signal. Let's see if we get the data imported. This is how you check if your data is imported and imported correctly. So this is still working. Should be finished soon. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, so looks good. There's some additional information is written at the bottom. Every time you run module 5, it creates a log file. It's very useful. It's in the directory log with your config file name, timestamp, and what happened. So these are tables. We copy the data, and these are the script we run. And this run, let's say, tell you for each table how long did we run to copy the data from Azure Storage to Azure Synapse. This is a total, this is a text format in hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. So all of these are successful. If there's any error, the error will be logged too. The status will be error. The error also will be logged into the log file. We just copy the data. Yeah, here's the error. If you have any errors, you can debug the process here. Since we don't really have any errors, the files are just empty. So recap, we translate tables and we execute the table script. And then we export data, move data to Azure Storage, generate a copy into script, and then execute. The data is moved from Azure Storage to Azure Synapse Analytics. That's it. So that's the demonstration of table and data migration from SQL Server to Azure Synapse.
Hello, welcome to SQL Server to Azure Synapse code conversion video. My name is Andrei Mirsky and I work in Data Warehouse Appliance Migration Accelerator team at Microsoft. In this video, I will demonstrate how we can easily prepare SQL Server views, functions, and stored procedures (DDL) scripts for migration into Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL pool. So let's get started. I have my local SQL Server 2019 instance where I have 4 sample databases, AdventureWorks and Wide World importers. So I will be demonstrating how to extract DDL scripts from these sample databases and prepare the scripts for future migration into Azure Synapse dedicated SQL pool. I have also a local copy of Azure Synapse scripts and accelerators repository downloaded from GitHub. It's on my C drive. I open migration and then SQL Server folder. We will start with module 1a extract code DDLs. There is PowerShell script which I'm going to execute. So I switch to PowerShell window and I execute the script. It prompts for some configuration information and of course credentials to connect to SQL Server instance. And in a few seconds, we get all extracted DDL scripts in the output folder. DDL scripts are structured based on database name and the object type. Next, we use module 1b, map databases and schemas. There is another PowerShell script which I'm going to execute. So I switch to PowerShell window and I execute this script. It prompts for some configuration information. I use default values. It is completed in few seconds. We can see the total number of files analyzed and processed. and we can see some statistics regarding data types which are not supported in Azure Synapse Analytics. The converted scripts are stored under Output folder, and again structured based on database name and object type. So let's examine one of the stored procedure scripts. Here we can see some statistics regarding unsupported data types found in the script. Here we have only hierarchy ID at line number 4, which is here. And also note that we have now 3 part names and new schema name. So now we have views, functions, and stored procedures DDL scripts converted and ready for deployment in Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL pool. This concludes my demo and hope you enjoyed.